Hello and welcome to Spinster's Library. I'm Claudia and today's video is going to be a relaxed and chatty sort of November TBR slash what I have planned for the month on the channel type of video. October was quite intense, both reading wise and booktube wise for me. I participated in Victober and I really immersed myself in Victorian literature, meaning I only read Victorian novels, two of which I have yet to finish, but I also made a lot of content that's Victorian literature related. So I uploaded a total of I think 13 videos in the month of October, which is a lot. That's more than 3 videos a week on average. So in November I am going to scale it back a bit, just relax it a little bit and not go quite so crazy on the content. The videos that I uploaded in October are all ones that I am really proud of. I certainly pushed myself in terms of what I have done so far. For example, I did this vlog in which I didn't use modern technology. And that was probably the biggest editing project I have ever done. It took hours and hours and hours to edit because I had hours and hours of raw video footage. So this month is going to be a little bit more relaxed. I am planning some videos, obviously, but I am hoping to keep it to 2 videos a week. Another effect of me... Beetle! Trying to steal the Crispies out of the desk drawer. Beetle! One of the side effects of me creating so many videos in October was that I didn't get to watch a whole lot. So my Watch Later playlist is nearing 100 videos and I'm hoping to catch up with those during November and just spend a little bit more time watching BookTube instead of just putting content out on BookTube, because I did miss the community aspect of it a little bit. I missed watching videos as they came out and then commenting on them and really engaging with other people in this community. There are a few videos that I have planned for November, including my recent favourite classics list, because I did discover some new favourites during Victober and I want to do a video where I talk about all of the classics that I've recently discovered and really loved. But other than that, we're going back to the future. My TBR is a lot more modern than usual, although not entirely modern. There may be the odd 19th century classic on that as well. As well as being more modern, this is a lot more relaxed. So I'm not expecting or aiming to read all of these books. This is just a selection of books that kind of spoke to me, that I feel curious about and that I want to explore in the month. And if I only get 2 or 3 read, then that's just fine as well. The first book I'm going to pick up is I See You by Clare Mackintosh. Clare Mackintosh is the favourite author of my friend and guest spinster Robin, and this is in fact her copy of it that she lent to me. I read her debut novel I Let You Go earlier this year. I did enjoy it. Thrillers are not my genre. They're definitely out of my comfort zone, but I found I Let You Go very readable, very enjoyable, very fast-paced. So if this one delivers the same, then I'm quite happy with that. It's definitely a bit of a break from my Victorian literature October. I can't really tell you what this is about, but the blurb at the back reads, "You do the same thing every day. You know exactly where you're going. You're not alone." So it sounds like a nicely creepy sort of a read for November as the days get colder and darker as well. Next up, speaking of creepy, I have another Discworld novel. I've sort of been slowly making my way through the collection of Discworld novels I have on my TBR, and next up I am going to read Reaper Man, which is one of the novels focused on death, one of my favourite characters in the Discworld series. I can't actually remember if I have read this before, But if I have, then I don't remember much about it. And anyway, the Discworld books aren't books that you kind of get spoiled about. Like, it doesn't really matter if you already know what happens, because all of the enjoyment lies in reading the books, enjoying the humour, enjoying the imaginative worlds and the characters. Then I have a novelisation of the classic Doctor Who episode Marco Polo, which is written by John Lucarotti, who also wrote that episode. This is one of the missing Doctor Who episodes from 1963. With the very first Dr. William Hartnell. I have therefore, since I'm not an actual time traveller, I have not seen the original episode, but it is one of those classics that people who have seen it remember as a very good episode. This is a teeny tiny book, so I'm sure I will get through this quickly enough. I don't think I have ever read a Doctor Who novelisation before. Generally speaking, when I have read novelizations of films, they have usually been quite underwhelming. So, to be honest, I'm not expecting a whole lot from this, but it gives me hope that the book was written by the same author who wrote the TV episode. Next up, an author I have been curious about for a long time. I have Gilead by Marilynne Robinson. Every time I see this book mentioned on BookTube, it is always with glowing words. People love this book and people love this author. I don't know much about it. There's a bit of a theme going on here. I don't usually know much about the books that I read before reading them. So really, this whole concept of me doing TBRs is hugely pointless, isn't it? This won the National Book Critics Circle Award, an award that I've never heard of until just now, but it's got to mean something. And the blurb seems to suggest a historical novel set in the 50s, but that is very much all that I know about it. Basically, I picked this up because the booktubers who talk about it are people whose opinions I trust and whose book tastes are similar to mine. So I am hoping I will enjoy this, and maybe I'll have a little bit more to say about it after I've read it. Next up, we have a bit of a classic, but it's not a 19th century classic, and I've got A Room of One's Own by Virginia Woolf. This has been on my TBR for months. I did borrow it from the library, but my university library has an automatic renewal system, so I've had this for almost a year. As I was finishing off Victober, I saw videos about Nonfiction November popping up all over BookTube, and I thought, yes, I'm going to participate in Nonfiction November. I'm going to dive straight in, I'm going to do all the challenges, I'm going to read nonfiction like I've never read nonfiction before. And then my brain kicked in and I took a step back and I realised that no, I've just come from a very intense readathon. I'm not going to dive straight into another. But as a little nod to Nonfiction November, because it is happening, I will be reading this one nonfiction book by Virginia Woolf. This is A Room of One's Own, which I believe is an essay on female authorship. It is also a very short book, so I'm hoping that I will get through this month, like I said, as a little nod to Nonfiction November. Maybe next year. The last modern book that I have on my TBR is a German one. I've not read a German book in a long time, so I feel like I'm due another one, and this is Gehen, Ging, Gegangen by Jenny Erpenbeck. I bought this new in a bookshop in Germany when I went to visit my parents in April of this year. Yeah, it's kind of sad to think that that's the last time I was in my home country. I definitely miss going there, but you know, my retail job doesn't pay that much, so I'm stuck here for a bit anyway. And I bought this because the author was recommended to me by Mel from Mel's Bookland Adventures. And I very much trust her taste in books, and she raves about this author, so I'm really hoping I will enjoy this. I believe this book came out a few years ago. No, actually only last year. Okay, so this is like as recent as it gets on this channel. This is from 2017, and I believe it deals with refugees in Germany. So it's a very topical book. It's completely nothing like what I usually read, but I'm very, very interested. So I'm going to make this one of my priorities for November. And then finally, because I have to have at least one 19th century classic, or it wouldn't be me, I'm going to read Nightmare Abbey by Thomas Love Peacock, which I haven't got on paper. I'll probably get it on Kindle or otherwise see if my university library carries it. This is going to be the fourth book I'm reading for my 1818 novel project. This is a project I've been doing all year where I read books from 1818. Nightmare Abbey is a satire of a Gothic novel, and I'm going to read that this month, and then next month I'm planning to read Northanger Abbey by Jane Austen, also from 1818, which is also a satire of Gothic literature. So I really kind of want to compare the two and see who does it better. Then I've got two books to finish that are still left over from Victober. One of them here. It's The Picture of Dorian Gray. This is the book I've been annotating. I'm going through it very, very slowly, but honestly I'm enjoying that because I already know what happens. I'm not really that fussed about reading through it quickly, but because I'm annotating it every now and again, and it only happens every few days, I don't even read this book every day, I sit down with all my coloured pencils and I go wild on the annotating. I've noticed in my annotating style that I am quite rude about the book and the characters in it. So I will enter into a dialogue where it's basically me just insulting the book and what happens in it. But, you know, I'm enjoying it. And I've certainly learned something about myself. The other book that I'm finishing is Oliver Twist by Charles Dickens. This one I'm listening to on audiobook, and I'm loving the audiobook. Simon Vance, who reads it, does such a good job that after this I'm definitely going to see which other books he has narrated and then have a look at those. I mostly listen to this on my way to university or on my way to work because I walk everywhere here. And I really like listening to audiobooks when I do that. Also when I walk the cats, because if you have ever walked a cat... Oh, speaking of which, hello Minervy! Say hello! She does not want to say hello. Walking cats is one of the most tedious and boring activities that you can do with a cat, because they will just sit outside and sniff at a fence. It's not very interesting. They don't like to walk very far either. So while I walk the cats, I like to listen to Oliver Twist. Very much enjoying it. A lot more than I thought I would. Definitely going to pick up more Charles Dickens in the future. Okay, this was it for today. Let me know what you have planned for November. Are you participating in Nonfiction November? Especially, are you participating in Nonfiction November if you did Victober? Or are you kind of tired of readathons after doing a really intense one for a month? Because that's how I'm feeling. I would like to participate in it, but I don't feel like I can commit to it like I did to Victober. Either way, whatever you're doing, non-fiction, classics, modern, I hope you have a wonderful reading month and relax. This is the last month we get to chill before the Christmas craziness starts. Thank you for watching. Bye.